Annie Lennox is a music artist most celebrated for her contribution to the 1980s music scene. She's equally well known for her innovative music as a solo act, but also for her early career in the synth-pop duo Eurythmics. Alongside her music, she is admired for her continuous work with charities, which have been honoured for her with an OBE. Anne Lennox was born in Aberdeen, Scotland on Christmas Day in 1954. Growing up, she had an interest in music and began piano lessons from the age of 7. When she was 17, she was accepted into the Royal Academy of Music in London. It was here that she developed her craft as a musician, studying the piano, harpsichord and flute. The move to London was overwhelming for a teenager who had spent her youth in Scotland. She spent much of her time working as a waitress or a barmaid to make ends meet while she was studying. Lennox was unconfident in her skills as a musician, often doubting if she was following the right path, intimidated by her talented classmates. It was during this time that she discovered her influences Joni Mitchell, who I've made a video about earlier, you can check it out too, and Stevie Wonder. She also began performing with several bands in small clubs and pubs, gaining experience as a performer. In 1976, she joined a band named Dragon's Playground as a flautist, but left a year later joining a band called The Tourist, a rock and pop band, where she became the lead singer for them over the next 3 years. This would be her first introduction to Dave Stewart, when she met him at a pub she was waitressing in. Together, they would develop a songwriting partnership. Lennox's vocals were a distinctive part of her music, especially as her career progressed. As a contralto vocalist, her voice is powerful and rich sounding. Her technical abilities made her stand out, naturally switching between different registers, and was able to support her long-held notes with controlled breathing. Her deeper register is just as impactful as her higher voicing, making the tone darker and possessing a more male timbre. With her range spanning over 3 octaves, she also has an impressive belting range that is full, weighty, and dynamic. She has often been referred to as soulful for this reason, and her emotive delivery had a striking effect on her listeners. Something else that made Lennox unique at this time was her androgynous image, often wearing suits. Paired with her soulful voice, she was greatly admired for this characteristic combination. Lennox left The Tourist in 1980, and instead, along with fellow musician Dave Stewart, they created a name for themselves as synth-pop duo Eurythmics. After The Tourist had achieved brief success with restraints from the label and management, they wanted to create something avant-garde that would not compromise their artistry. They wanted to write pop music that pushed the boundaries and experimented with electronic sounds and synths. After the disappointment of their time in The Tourist, they decided that the Eurythmics would solely comprise of Lennox and Stewart as the permanent songwriters, only involving other session musicians when needed. They soon signed to RCA Records, and their debut album, In the Garden, was released in October 1981. It didn't receive any great critical or commercial acclaim, but their follow-up album, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, became their big break. The album was dark and electronic, and the title track reached number 2 in the UK singles chart. They became an overnight sensation, with Lennox turning into an immediate pop icon. On the back of this success, they recorded their 3rd album, Touch, which skyrocketed to number 1 in the UK album charts. Eurythmics achieved major success over the next few years, but in 1990, Lennox pulled away to pursue a solo career. Diva was Lennox's debut album as a solo artist, releasing the commercially successful record in 1992. It immediately charted at number 1 in the UK charts, reaching further afield, hitting the charts in Australia, Germany, and the US too. Why became her signature song, with the video winning an MTV Award for Best Female Video, followed by Walking on Broken Glass, featuring major actors in its music video. The album became certified quadruple platinum, selling over 1.2 million copies. Lennox's second release as a solo act was her album titled Medusa, covering songs sung only by males, featuring the likes of Bob Marley, Neil Young, and Paul Simon. She has expressed that she chose the songs based on what she was drawn to, rather than for any theme or purpose. Despite not including any original material, her arrangements still garnered huge success. It went straight to number 1 in the UK charts, while sitting at number 12 in the US Billboard 200, where it stayed for 60 weeks. This album earned her a Grammy with the single No More I Love Yous, winning Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. Medusa would be the last album release from Lennox for a while. Stepping away from the spotlight, she raised her children while working on the occasional projects such as providing vocals for Apollo 13 and also the Avengers soundtrack. 8 years after the Eurythmics went on a hiatus, Lennox and Stewart joined together again to collaborate writing and recording their next project, Peace. The album reflected on the issues concerning global conflict and world peace. In 2003, Lennox gravitated back to her solo project, releasing Bear, which stole the number 3 spot in the UK charts and received a nomination for Best Pop Album at the Grammy Awards. She took home another Grammy for a contribution to Into the West for The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And throughout the 2000s, she performed at various events and embarked on a North American tour with Sting. As a performer, Lennox has a powerful presence on stage. Classically trained, she has an impressive vocal delivery that sits perfectly over the brooding soundscape. Not only this, but she has experimented visually too, often dressed in androgynous clothing. She has also appeared as an Elvis Presley imitator, dominatrix Minnie Mouse, and a blonde glamour queen. Outside of music, Lennox has been a prominent figure as an activist and charity worker. She has been an active supporter for Greenpeace and Amnesty International, with Lennox and Stewart even donating all the profits from their Eurythmics Peace Tour to the charities. In 2007, she released Sing on her 4th album, Songs of Mass Destruction, where she collaborated with 23 other major female artists to raise funds and awareness for HIV/AIDS. Amongst an accolade of humanitarian work, she has performed at Live 8 and the Nobel Peace Prize concert while speaking at the British House of Commons and leading a rally against the Gaza war. In 2010, she became an officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in acknowledgement for all of her humanitarian work. Alongside this, she is considered a gay icon for her vocal talent and provocative stage persona, and has been a longtime supporter of LGBT rights. Her compassion as a human being and her legacy as a music legend will be admired for generations. You can check out the Carly of Spotify to listen to the original tracks of the artist. It's a curated playlist with the most popular songs.